Polly the Brave Sheep. Once upon a time, in a lush green valley bordered by the wild forest, there lived a sheep named Polly. She was no ordinary sheep, her wool was as white as freshly fallen snow, and she wore a beautiful blue dress embroidered with silver stars. Polly wasn't like the other sheep, who preferred to stay in the safety of their meadow. She was curious, adventurous, and utterly unafraid of the unknown. But what made Polly truly special was her gift: she could wield magic. Polly had been studying spells and incantations under the guidance of Madame Hazel, an old fox sorceress who lived at the edge of the forest. Polly dreamed of becoming a powerful sorceress who could help those in need. One morning, as the golden sun painted the sky with hues of pink and orange, Polly decided to explore deeper into the wild forest than she ever had before. She tied a silver ribbon in her wool, adjusted her blue dress, and set off with her wooden staff, which shimmered faintly with her magic. The whispering trees. The forest welcomed Polly with open arms, its trees towering high and their leaves whispering ancient secrets. As Polly walked along a moss-covered path, she heard a faint cry for help. Following the sound, she came upon a clearing where a little rabbit was caught in a magical snare, glowing with purple energy. "Hold still, little one," Polly said softly. She tapped her staff on the ground and whispered an incantation. Blue light flowed from her staff, unraveling the snare like thread. The rabbit, a small brown creature with a curious glint in its eye, hopped free and bowed low. "Thank you, kind sorceress," he said. "I am Bram, and I owe you my life. If you ever need help, call my name." Polly smiled. "Be careful, Bram. The forest can be dangerous." The Lost River. As Polly ventured deeper, she came across the Lost River, a legendary waterway said to move through the forest like a living creature. Today, the river was restless, its waters churning and leaping as though in distress. A great oak tree near the riverbank groaned. "Oh, brave sheep," it said, its bark forming a solemn face. "The river guardian has gone missing, and without her, the waters will flood the forest." Polly's heart swelled with determination. "I'll find the guardian," she said. The oak whispered directions, and Polly followed them into a dark and tangled part of the forest. She had to navigate thorny vines, shadowy groves, and mysterious whispers that tried to lure her off the path. But Polly was steadfast. The guardian's prison. At last, Polly found the river guardian, a graceful otter with a golden necklace, trapped in a cage of black crystal. Standing guard was a sly, grinning fox with emerald green eyes. He was weaving spells to strengthen the cage. "Release her," Polly demanded, her staff glowing bright. The fox chuckled. "And who are you to challenge me, little sheep?" Polly planted her hooves firmly. "I am Polly, a sorceress in training, and I will not let you harm the forest." The fox sneered and cast a spell, sending green fire spiraling toward Polly. But Polly was ready. She raised her staff, and with a wave, her blue magic collided with the flames, extinguishing them. The duel was fierce, with spells lighting up the dark forest like fireworks. Polly used her cleverness, creating illusions to confuse the fox and weaving protective barriers. Finally, she cast a binding spell that wrapped the fox in glowing blue chains. "You are strong," the fox admitted grudgingly. "But this is not over." Polly didn't waste time gloating. She shattered the crystal cage with her staff, freeing the river guardian. The otter hugged Polly tightly and returned to the river, calming its waters with her magic. A hero's welcome. Word of Polly's bravery spread quickly through the forest. Animals of all kinds came to thank her, from deer and squirrels to owls and hedgehogs. Even the whispering trees murmured their admiration. When Polly returned to the meadow, she found Madame Hazel waiting for her. The old fox's eyes twinkled with pride. "You've done well, Polly," she said. "You're no longer just a sorceress in training. Today, you've proven yourself a true protector of the forest." Polly beamed. She knew her journey as a sorceress was just beginning, but she was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. From that day on, Polly continued to explore the wild forest, helping those in need and learning more about her magical powers. She remained unafraid of anything or anyone, for she knew that courage, kindness, and a little magic could overcome even the darkest challenges. And so, Polly the brave sheep became a legend in the wild forest, her blue dress and silver stars a symbol of hope and bravery for all who called it home. The end. Polly and the Dragon of Silver Peak. After her heroic deeds in the wild forest, Polly the brave sheep continued her magical studies with Madame Hazel. But even as her powers grew, Polly remained humble, wandering the forest and helping its inhabitants whenever trouble arose. One day, the peace of the forest was shattered when a fiery roar echoed from the distant mountains. Birds fled from their nests, and the trees shuddered as though afraid. A group of woodland creatures hurried to find Polly, their eyes wide with fear. "It's the Dragon of Silver Peak," a squirrel cried. "He's awoken and is demanding tribute from the forest. If we don't give him what he wants, he'll burn the woods to ash." Polly frowned. She had heard tales of the dragon, a fearsome creature with scales like molten silver and eyes that burned like twin suns. But Polly was not one to cower before danger. "What does he want?" Polly asked. "A golden relic," an owl hooted solemnly. "The heartstone of the forest. But if we give it to him, the forest will wither and die." Polly's grip on her staff tightened. "Then we cannot let him have it. I'll go and speak with him." The animals gasped. "Speak with the dragon. He'll roast you alive." But Polly's resolve was unshaken. "If we let fear rule us, we'll lose everything. Trust me, I'll return with peace or victory." The journey to Silver Peak. The path to Silver Peak was treacherous. Polly climbed steep cliffs and crossed roaring rivers, using her magic to keep herself steady. Along the way, the wind whispered warnings, and the rocks beneath her hooves seemed to tremble in fear of the dragon's wrath. At last, Polly reached the dragon's lair, a massive cave that glowed with a fiery light. The entrance was surrounded by scorched earth, and the air was heavy with the smell of smoke. Polly took a deep breath and stepped inside. The dragon was even more fearsome than the stories had described. He lay atop a mountain of treasure, his silver scales glinting in the firelight. His eyes, like molten gold, narrowed as Polly approached. "A sheep," he rumbled, his voice shaking the cavern. "What foolish creature dares disturb the Dragon of Silver Peak?" Polly planted her staff firmly on the ground. "I am Polly, a sorceress of the wild forest. I've come to ask why you threaten my home." The dragon snorted, sending sparks flying. "Your home? The forest is nothing but a speck to me. I demand the heartstone, or I will reduce it to ash." The argument. Polly's eyes flashed with determination. "The heartstone is not yours to take. It belongs to the forest and sustains its life." The dragon laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that echoed through the cave. "And why should I care for the forest? I am a dragon. The skies are my domain, and all beneath them is mine to claim." Polly took a step closer, her blue dress glowing faintly with her magic. "Power does not give you the right to destroy. If you take the heartstone, you will doom not just the forest but yourself as well. The forest is part of the world, and without it, the balance will crumble. The dragon growled, his tail lashing against the treasure pile. Enough. I grow tired of your prattle. Leave now, little sheep, before I turn you to ash. Polly stood her ground. If you destroy the forest, you'll find no victory. You'll find me, standing in your way. The battle. The dragon roared, a deafening sound that shook the cavern. He lunged at Polly, his jaws wide and his breath a torrent of flame. Polly raised her staff, and a shimmering blue shield surrounded her, deflecting the fire. The fight began in earnest. The dragon unleashed streams of flame and swept his claws at Polly, but the brave sheep dodged and countered with her magic. She conjured vines to bind his legs and summoned water from deep within the earth to douse his flames. The dragon, however, was not easily subdued. He broke free of the vines and took to the air, his wings creating gusts of wind that threatened to knock Polly off her hooves. But Polly was clever. She used the wind to her advantage, casting a spell that turned the gusts into a whirlwind that surrounded the dragon, disorienting him. "Why do you fight so fiercely, little sheep?" the dragon snarled as he struggled against her magic. "Because this is my home," Polly shouted. "And I will not let you destroy it." With a final burst of power, Polly struck the ground with her staff, sending a wave of blue energy through the cavern. The dragon was thrown back, crashing into his treasure hoard. Dazed, he struggled to rise but found himself bound by shimmering chains of light. The dragon's change of heart. As the dragon lay bound, Polly approached him. "You are powerful, but your greed blinds you. You could use your strength to protect this world, not harm it." The dragon's golden eyes softened. For the first time in centuries, he saw beyond his pride and hunger for treasure. "Perhaps you are right, little sorceress," he said. "I have taken much, but it has brought me no joy. Tell me, what would you have me do?" Polly released the chains. "Return to the skies, where you belong. Protect the forest and its creatures, and you will find true purpose." The dragon rose, his silver scales gleaming. "You are wise and brave, Polly. I will do as you ask." With a mighty roar, the dragon flew from the cave, his wings casting shimmering light over the forest below. A hero returns. When Polly returned to the forest, the animals cheered and celebrated her bravery. Even Madame Hazel was impressed. "You've faced a dragon and emerged victorious," the old fox said. "Few sorcerers could claim such a feat." Polly smiled. It wasn't just magic that won the day. Sometimes, even the fiercest hearts can be changed with courage and truth. From that day forward, the Dragon of Silver Peak became a guardian of the wild forest, soaring above its trees and keeping it safe from harm. And Polly the brave sheep continued her adventures, her legend growing with each challenge she faced. The end. Polly and the Shadow of Celeste. After the Dragon of Silver Peak became a protector of the wild forest, Polly's name was spoken with reverence throughout the land. She continued her magical studies, balancing her life between learning new spells and helping the creatures of the forest. Yet Polly's heart was never at rest. She knew that peace, though precious, was often fleeting. One crisp autumn morning, while Polly walked along a sparkling brook, a mysterious raven landed on a branch above her. Its feathers shimmered like oil in the sunlight, and its eyes gleamed unnaturally. "Polly the brave," the raven croaked, its voice unnervingly sharp, "beware of the sheep with the silver fleece. She weaves webs of the mind and whispers to the heart." Before Polly could respond, the raven took flight, vanishing into the golden trees. The warning lingered in Polly's mind like an echo in a cavern. The silver fleece. The next day, troubling news spread through the forest. Animals and even some forest spirits were acting strangely, their eyes dull and their voices filled with only one name, Celeste. "Celeste will protect us," said a deer with a faraway look in her eyes. "Celeste is all we need," murmured a fox, his tail dragging limply. Polly's stomach churned. Whatever was happening, it wasn't natural. Madame Hazel confirmed Polly's fears. "Celeste is a sorceress sheep like no other," she said gravely. "Her silver fleece gives her the power to enter minds and bend them to her will. She's traveled far, enslaving all in her path. If we don't stop her, the entire forest, and beyond, will fall under her control." Polly clenched her staff. "Her magic won't work on me. I'll confront her." Madame Hazel nodded. "But freeing those already under her spell is no small task. You'll need something greater than magic alone." The encounter. Polly followed the trail of enchanted creatures to the edge of the forest, where a wide plain stretched to the horizon. There, atop a hill surrounded by thralls, foxes, hares, birds, and even wolves, stood Celeste. She was striking, her silver fleece glowing under the midday sun. Around her neck hung a necklace of black pearls that pulsed with faint light, like tiny hearts beating in unison. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, fell on Polly as she approached. "Well, well," Celeste purred, her voice smooth as silk. "The famous Polly. You've made quite a name for yourself, haven't you?" Polly stopped a few paces away, her blue dress catching the wind. "And you must be Celeste. Release these creatures from your spell." Celeste laughed, a cold, melodious sound. "Why would I do that? They're happier this way. No fear, no doubts, just devotion to a greater purpose, me." Polly's eyes narrowed. "Happiness isn't real if it's forced. You're stealing their will, their essence." Celeste smirked. "You don't understand. I bring order to chaos. No one resists me for long. And you, Polly," her voice took on a hypnotic tone, like a lullaby, "you'll soon see that my way is best." But Polly felt nothing. Celeste's magic slid off her like rain on a waxed coat. "Your tricks won't work on me, Celeste. I stand for freedom, and I won't let you enslave anyone else." Celeste's eyes darkened. "Then you've made yourself my enemy." The shadow spell. Celeste flicked her hoof, and a wave of dark energy surged toward Polly. Polly raised her staff, summoning a shield of blue light. The magic clashed in midair, sending ripples across the plain. The thralls began to chant, their voices eerie and hollow. "Celeste, Celeste, Queen of the Mind. None can resist, none can unwind." Polly's heart ached for them. Their spirits were trapped, their voices no longer their own. "Give up, Polly," Celeste called, weaving another spell. "You're outnumbered and outmatched." But Polly didn't falter. She knew Celeste's power came not just from her magic but from the necklace she wore. The black pearls thrummed with energy, feeding off the will of those she had enslaved. Polly dodged Celeste's next spell and countered with a burst of wind, scattering the thralls momentarily. She needed a plan. How could she break the spell on so many creatures at once? The truth in the heartstone. As Polly fought, she remembered the heartstone of the forest, the relic that sustained life in the wild forest. Perhaps its ancient power could counter Celeste's dark magic. But it was deep in the forest, guarded by ancient spirits. Could she retrieve it in time? Polly summoned a whirlwind around herself to keep Celeste's spells at bay. Then she sent a blue flare of magic into the sky, a signal to the dragon. Within moments, a great roar echoed across the plains. The dragon of Silver Peak descended, his silver wings gleaming like mirrors. "Polly," he rumbled, "what do you need?" "I need the Heartstone," Polly said quickly. "It's the only way to free the thralls." The dragon nodded. "Hold her off. I'll retrieve it." As the dragon flew toward the forest, Polly turned back to Celeste. "You've lost, Celeste." Celeste snarled, her confidence waning. "You think a shiny rock will stop me?" Polly didn't answer. She focused on defending herself and distracting Celeste as the dragon returned, clutching the Heartstone in his claws. The relic shone with a pure golden light, its warmth dispelling the shadows around them. The moment the Heartstone appeared, Celeste's thralls paused, their eyes flickering with recognition. Celeste screamed, her magic faltering. "No! I am their queen," she cried, but Polly raised her staff and directed the Heartstone's light toward Celeste's necklace. The black pearls shattered with a deafening crack, and Celeste fell to the ground, her power broken. The aftermath. As the golden light spread across the plain, the thralls blinked and looked around, free from Celeste's influence. The animals cheered, their voices full of gratitude. Celeste lay in the grass, her silver fleece dull and her eyes hollow. "You've taken everything from me," she whispered. Polly knelt beside her. "You still have a chance to change, Celeste. Power doesn't have to come from control, it can come from kindness." Celeste said nothing, but something in her eyes softened. A new beginning. With the Heartstone returned to its place in the forest, peace was restored. Celeste was given a choice, to stay and atone for her deeds or leave and find her own path. She chose the latter, vanishing into the horizon with a promise to return someday as a better sheep. As for Polly, her legend grew even greater. She had not only defeated Celeste but freed countless lives and proven that even the darkest magic could be overcome with courage and compassion. And so, Polly the brave sheep continued her journey, knowing that her greatest power was not her magic but her unwavering heart. The end.